We create jobs and make entrepreneurial dreams come true. ACE, Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, is a nonprofit community lender specializing in small business loans coupled with business advisory services. These are the stories of those businesses we've helped reach success and claim their American dream.
Welcome to Ace Best Stories. I'm talking today with Couleen LaGon. He is a founder of the Märchen Sagen Academy. Märchen Sagen.
Close enough.
Märchen Sagen. Yeah,
yes,
it's
sir.
German in nature. Yeah, so
Very old Germanic.
Yeah, so we're talking today with different groups and organizations and about kind of how they built their idea and where it came from. So because you can't tell from the name, the Märchen Sagen Academy, tell everybody what you guys do. It's really kind of a cool thing.
Well, the Märchen Sagen Academy is a nonprofit. Of
Okay.
course, we founded the company to basically help develop people and their ideas. You know, it's all about idea building. The cornerstone of the entire program is an after school for kids ages 6 to 12, teaching them video and audio production.
Yeah, as I was looking at it, it looked like it had kind of this creative outlet.
Oh my gosh.
Something that they don't get taught in school.
No one
Yeah,
gets taught this stuff in school.
yeah.
So a lot of the parents, they go nuts when they see the place. I mean, we built a green screen room, recording studio. I mean, we're right on the square in downtown Decatur, so we have access to amazing places to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really neat down there.
Yeah, I was down at Punt City Market interviewing a company earlier, and having a place like that where you can just walk outside, like in
Right.
downtown Decatur, and you have a great shot.
Very
You-
fortunate.
You don't have to go find anything.
Make
you
up
can just,
backdrops, yeah.
Yeah,
We're doing location scouting within a 20-yard radius.
right. So, tell me how you got into this. What did you do before? Why did you decide that this was the thing that you wanted to take on?
Well, I'm a video producer and music producer by trade. I was starting music years ago. I produced I produced an artist that got signed to Interscope Records.
Okay.
I did a production deal with CeeLo Green,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I'm a signed writer with Sony in my music publishing. So I've done some film and TV stuff, and I was producing a lot of corporate promo videos,
Right.
and ended up producing that video on one of my kids. Went viral, and I started teaching in City Decatur schools at one of the elementary schools, teaching the kids how to create a PSA.
Okay.
And my sister, she's
Is that
director
PSA.
of
Most people may not know.
public service announcement.
Public service announcement.
Coming
Okay.
soon.
Right.
But my sister, she's the director of foundation for the Atlanta Mission.
Uh-huh.
And when I mentioned the plan to her, she immediately said, that's a nonprofit. You should do that for all the kids.
Right.
And so we got started. This was the fall of 2015.
Okay.
So fairly new.
So step me back. So you started a video, you created a video, and it went viral. So tell me.
It's a music
about that.
video for my son. He's 10 years old. He's a little artist. And it was called Buy One, Get One Free.
Yeah.
A song about making friends. And if you're nice to somebody, they will be nice to someone else in turn. And the video got about 10,000 views on Facebook in about a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it just kind of set the ball rolling for everything.
Oh, wow. And so from that experience, you decided that it would be something you'd want to expand. And
Well, of course, and I was producing videos for a large manufacturer at the time. I was working for their marketing department. And not too long into thinking about starting Märchen Sagen, they told me, hey, man, your job's going away in 6 months.
Wow.
And so I was originally going to do it part-time, and I was like, no way, we're going to have to dive right in.
Yeah.
And so it's been an adventure ever since.
So, the decision to go after that and to do that, nonprofits they can be hard to set up.
Right.
There's I've got a friend of mine who works specifically in that, and she and I kind of translate between the for-profit and the nonprofit world.
Right.
So when you say that, what does that mean? So did you know a lot about nonprofit before?
Of course. Well, I knew enough.
Enough.
And I knew enough to not establish this and constantly be looking for handouts and
Right.
donations. So the plan was to establish it, but have a tuition-based afternoon program so that we were generating funds. And I also produce videos for small companies and businesses still. And so my consulting work is helping to fund the entire deal too.
Yeah, so you've got both of those revenue streams that help to
Right.
keep it going.
Right, which I definitely recommend anybody.
Yeah, a lot of small businesses look at creating, specifically at the beginning, and they take this advice about focusing, what you should do. But if you put everything into one product or service, you end up risking
A lot.
A lot, yeah. Well, and having a job is risking because you can have that person come to you and say, "Hey, you don't have a job anymore." So
Right.
at least you have a little bit more control over it.
Right.
So, there's so many kind of interesting components to your story. So one being that you're in downtown Decatur. You were telling me before we came on air that you have the only freestanding.
It's the best location in the city.
Well, how did you get it? How did you get that location?
Faith. And a great business plan. I tell anyone to get up on their project plan, business, marketing plan, being able to write and communicate well your goals and what your projections are and stuff like that, because my business writing has gotten me further and more money than my talent has in music and video production.
Okay. Yeah, writing is a skill and a talent that for a period of time I almost feel like it was domiciled. People didn't focus on it. In today's world, it's such an important thing to
you need to write and be concise and clear and be able to not only just pull the heartstrings, because that works, but to have the technical writing ability too. And I've been lucky to be able to do all that.
So in this location, did the location just happen to become available?
Well, when I made up my mind about starting this this company, I immediately knew that I wanted that house. We live in the area too. We live a mile from this place, so I'm passing by all the time. And when I thought of Märchen Sagen, I was like, I knew this was going to be the mother house for this. So I talked to the leasing agent. The house had been empty for a number of years, and he says, "Man, we're getting calls every day about this place. The landlords don't want anything." I said, "Stop. Let me send you my project plan. Send it to them, and let's see." And sure enough, they read my project plan and wanted to meet me, and they agreed to lease me the space.
So what kind of things were they rejecting? What was it?
Doctor's office, another doctor's office, lawyers, a restaurant wanted to come in and pump about $450,000 into renovating this house, and they said no.
Wow.
So they were very clear that they didn't want another boutique, another restaurant, or anything like that in the house. They wanted something for the community.
Ah, okay. So you fit the bill.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious about the name.
Well, Märchen Sagen, it almost sounds like it's someone's name, like a human being, but they're two old Germanic names that don't have a real English translation. But Märchen roughly translates to fairy tale, and Sagen translates to legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're helping people tell their stories, tell fairy tale legends.
It's all about everyone being able to tell their own personal story. And we all have to define it from the beginning on which direction it's going to be, whether or not it's going to be, a fairy tale or whether or not it's going to be a legend.
Very nice.
We all do it.
I like that. So starting this out, we hear a lot in the news about, arts are not being funded as much as they used to be or were in school, and you sort of have to work at that. My daughter went to a STEM-oriented high school, and she's an artist, and so she's always felt like she kind of didn't quite fit in.
Right.
I think she may have been the only person who didn't go to a school that said university when she went to college, right?
Right.
So, what you do, which is kind of a culmination of a lot of those things being brought together into producing a final product. How did you approach the schools? How did you get the word out? How did you find those first students?
Well, I believe in creating something unique, and the Build It and They Will Come is alive and well in downtown Decatur, particularly for something that's supporting the community, is teaching kids, something that they don't get in school. And the fact that, we're reaching out to parents and community members that are in the industry and people that, they work around media, they get it.
Right.
They come over and they see the place, they get a tour, their jaws are on the ground. They can't believe that this is sitting right in their community. We have a green screen room. We've got a recording studio upstairs. I mean, it's a really unique opportunity for kids that age. They don't experience that stuff probably ever in their lives. People pay a lot of money to go do this kind of thing, out in the studio somewhere.
Yeah, and you have to seek those things out or do them on your own. The concept of being able to formalize that and allowing someone to try it out. You may think you want to do that or play in that space, but until you've had the opportunity to record something, try to put it together, you don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've been lucky enough to attract the right kind of kids. So these kids that are coming up these days, they're a lot more tech savvy than the adults are a lot of times. And we teach using a lot of Apple products, so Mac Pros, MacBooks, we have iPads. And so a lot of the stuff that they come to the table with, They already have knowledge about iMovie, a lot of them. Some of them have their own YouTube channels already. One of my kids has about 250,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. So
that's amazing.
Yes, it's wild. But
the difference in what used to be personality or persona or celebrity and what it is today. We watched a show, The Amazing Race, and several years ago they had a bunch of famous YouTubers on.
Right.
And I'm too old to know who those people are. So we're like,
it's the new economy.
It is. It really is. So walk me through what this might look like from a student perspective. So there's some after-school programs. We're in the summer now, so you've got some camps going on.
We're running our first summer camp, and it's an all-day camp from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we do have an after-school program. We're starting up our second year on August 1st, and it's from 2:30 to 4:30.
Okay.
So typically the kids will come in, they get maybe 20, 30 minutes to just kind of decompress and dork out.
Right.
Get on an iPad, play some apps or something. And we have our crew meeting. It's just like a real production kind of setup. Have our crew meeting, discuss the projects that are either on the table or what we're going into for the day, and we just get busy. People kind of decide right out the gate if they're going to be behind the camera or in front. So we kind of know that, and the kids in our after school, after a while, you just kind of know where people want to be, and some like to edit, some like to write, some like to act, and you just want to find out where they are and just help them dial in their own little talents. That's the main thing to me, is just seeing what peaks in their mind and then help them to develop that. And
so does it work? Some programs will do, we're going to do a play. So meaning like if it were an after-school play program, they would have picked Annie or something.
Oh, no, these kids,
are they picking the topic?
They pick the topics.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I come in with a general idea to just sort of corral them.
Right.
But for the most part, they come up with their own concepts because then they're invested.
Right.
So once they have their own concepts going in their mind, you just show them, hey, you can try this and add that, and we can shoot this on the green screen and take out the background to get this thing you want, and they just light up. And so when they're working on a project that they conceived, you don't have to drive them.
Right.
One of my kids in my summer camp, his mom told me yesterday, she said that he woke up on Wednesday morning and said, hey, Mom, what day is it? And she was like, it's Wednesday. She said, well, we got to hurry. We only shot one thing yesterday. So it's beautiful to get these kids excited about showing up there. You know?
Well, in the concept of reading about something from a case study perspective versus actually doing it. And that's a huge difference often as it relates to school and then having an applicable way of trying something out, right? You get out there, you get to make the mistakes, you get to see how it works, and when you read about it or don't get to touch it and feel it, you don't have as much of an experience where you really learn something.
Well, I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs freeze. Because so many, or potential entrepreneurs, so many of them freeze in the thinking and writing and studying up part, and they never actually dive out there and just get their hands into it.
I've had some very interesting conversations with people who've gotten MBAs, because often an MBA teaches you to be risk adverse. It doesn't work in the spreadsheet. And as an entrepreneur, it never works in the spreadsheet.
Right.
You look at it and you're like, that's not going to, but your gut tells you should move forward and you should do something with it.
Right.
So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about resources that you've, relied on, what you've learned, like going from being somebody who's working for someone to now, kind of on your own and freelancing. So things you tell other people if they were considering it. And then also kind of how you measure impact. Like your success is a little different than a traditional business from a revenue, top line, bottom line perspective. So we're talking today with Couleen LaGon. He is the founder of the Märchen Sagen Academy. Did I get any of that right?
You got it all right.
All right. Okay. You're just being nice. So anyway, you're listening to Ace's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. We'll be back in just a minute.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business may have closed in 1 year.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business wouldn't be expanded as much as it's expanding right now. They were there for me at the time of my need.
If it wasn't for ACE, we would not be here today.
If it wasn't for ACE, I would very much still be cooking at an hourly rate, and I would have never impacted hundreds of lives and an entire community.
I still remember going to different kind of banks, big banks, and with papers, and these people send me back because I don't have, I had experience in the restaurant business, but I don't have, everything else this bank needed. And I believe in me.
I did the research in Adult Day. I had experienced it personally because my grandfather had Alzheimer's. So I wanted to do the business myself, get into it because I knew I could make a difference.
Initially, when we started, there was only one person, which would be me. And then the company have grown from 1% to 8, and we provide quality assurance, quality control testing for FDA-regulated companies.
I think Grace not only completely understands what it's like to start off in an office connected to your laundry room or wherever she was, but she also understands the growth process, and I think that she does an excellent job of making sure that everybody who works with ACE has an understanding of the kind of struggles and celebrations that you can have.
ACE has helped us with putting our business idea into the market, working with us with the business actually working, actually showing us, guiding me personally how to solve some of my marketing issue problems or with the business planning.
You don't meet many lenders that are invested in your success. And, from their classes or presentations, seminars, they really do have a vested interest in your success.
The best advice I can do to small business owners is follow your dreams, Always follow your dreams, follow your heart.
Have a plan. Just because you have a passion for it doesn't mean that you can start a good business.
Get ready for the ride of your life, and definitely make sure that you look out for fantastic resources like ACE.
ACE is a way to go.
You're just the best. I really are.
And we're back. You're listening to Ace's Best Stories. I'm talking today with Couleen LaGon, founder of the Märchen Sagen Academy.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you listen to any of my other shows, you know that names are never my thing. And it's Holtzclaw, so I can get away with it occasionally, but really. So anyway, we're talking about your organization, which is it's an entrepreneurial organization, but a little different because it's in a nonprofit space. You do some freelance with some small businesses, things like that. So resource-wise, so you decide you're going to do this. Had you built or started a business or entity before?
I've always had side stuff going on.
Side stuff, okay. So a side hustle.
Right.
Yeah.
I always had a hustle,
Yeah.
but a creative hustle.
Right.
And when I left the corporate world, I had a potential investor.
Okay.
So that's what kind of got my balls rolling.
Right.
And then when this guy pulled out on me, which happens.
Yes, it does. The money's never there until it's in the bank.
Right. Don't count on the money until it's in the bank.
Right.
So this guy disappears, and I run out and just immediately try to figure out how I'm going to do this. And I was lucky enough to get some investment from ACE, some of the initial funding that I got from ACE.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped me get the ball rolling and get some cash capital in that I needed to cover everything from new equipment to salaries and stuff like that, and rent on the place for the first few months.
And so the money you received, which that sounds interesting, you could use it for multiple things, because often when you get money from a bank or somewhere else, they tell you can only use it either for equipment or to buy a building or whatever, but they gave you something that allowed you to bridge that.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
And Lord knows when you're starting something like this, you need a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, you're guessing.
Yeah, you're guessing. You're guessing. You're building the plane while you're flying it.
Yes, absolutely. That's what they say. The entrepreneur jumps off the cliff and builds the plane on the way down.
Right.
So-
Right. Perfect example.
on the way down. So so that was one of the things that you had an investor pull out. So just from a, outreach to the schools, and it sounds like that came naturally. Did you have problems attracting those first sets of students?
Well, it was a lot of hustle, just
Yeah.
getting out there and, kissing babies and shaking hands. You have to
Right.
do the politician thing
Yeah.
because this is a very unique business in the sense that you're dealing with people's kids.
Right.
So there has to be a lot of trust
Yeah.
involved, and you need some word of mouth. And we've been very fortunate to have a good name in the street, and kids go nuts about the program, and parents go nuts about how their kids come home from the program.
Yeah.
So, it
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Well, and that whole being able to create something and then see it at the end is so powerful.
It's huge.
Yeah.
They have a product,
Right.
and it's not like a babysitting kind of deal that a lot of places do.
Right.
They just throw them in a corner and give them a snack and let them just doodle on the wall all
Right,
day.
right.
These kids, parents tell me they go home tired,
Yeah.
from thinking and working, but they're ecstatic about coming back to do the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
One of the biggest testaments to what we were doing is watching parents come pick kids up. And we have a long after school. We're from 2:30 to 6:30.
Right.
And the kids are saying, I'm not ready to go yet.
I'm still working on this.
Why are you early?
Angry at him about
Oh my, I've seen angry kids that didn't want to leave our program. So
Right.
it's huge to be able to measure that basically by parent satisfaction.
Yeah.
And they're happy because their kids are happy.
it. Yeah. Yeah. I, to date myself, went to computer camps in the summer. Computers were so new. I went and programmed computers.
Wow.
So and that was, same thing. We were all stuck in the lab, and it was so
Right.
cool to do something, and feels like a skill because I don't really see them as much now. And that was back, now some of the new media you're talking
Right.
about, those are the jobs of the future. No matter what you're doing, you've got to be able to create content, tell those stories,
Right.
and it doesn't matter what your industry is.
Even for school, I mean, if you look at it, the schools in downtown Decatur, I think a lot of them are changing in this way too. I mean, the kids are using iPads
Oh yeah,
for all their work
Right.
in middle school. So, they're used to handling technology and they need it for their work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to get anything done without making a video or creating something for it in school today,
Yeah.
using some kind of tech.
So other things you've learned along the way, where there's just I always love to hear the things because you kind of go into something and you're not exactly sure what you're about to do, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize you had to do the following thing, or there was some kind of aha moment in building it.
Well, I tell people to listen
Yeah,
to that little voice on the inside that's guiding you, that intuition that flashed, that image into your mind that you could pull this thing off. Follow that. Don't listen to anyone else because you were given this image because you were the only one that could do it.
yeah,
That's the only reason why it flashed into your mind. And most people just don't get the courage to follow behind that.
I have a good friend who says ideas come to you and they light on you like a butterfly,
Hmm.
and either you accept them and you do something with it, or it moves on.
Right.
So it goes to someone else.
Right.
That's why you'll
People complain, hey man, I thought of that idea. They saw
right.
the commercial. They said, I thought of that 3 years ago. Yeah, but you didn't do anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're marketing and kind of building are people with you for an entire, is it like by semester? Do they come in and they spend a semester
Well, it's
with
month
you?
to month.
Month to
so
month, okay.
month to month, yes. City of Decatur has 9 20-day cycles roughly to
Okay.
kind of follow a 180-day school year.
Yeah.
So we run our cycles concurrent with City of Decatur schools. So parents just pay pretty much like on a monthly basis.
And so do you do anything like a night to show their work? Or
Oh,
how
we
do
do have display of learning kind
Yeah.
of celebrations, and parents come out and see all this stuff. And we have open houses, almost quarterly.
Yeah.
So we've been having a good time showing all this crazy product that these kids are doing. I mean, we produced maybe 20 videos during the school year and about 5 original songs. We've got kids that have been performing around town, doing shows and stuff like that for the music that we've done. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, and the measurement of success. So many times when you're talking about a for-profit business, the measurement of success is, top line revenue, cost, those kind of things. And you're in a nonprofit and you're doing self-sustaining, which is the smartest way to do it. But how are you measuring success? Like what are your milestones that tell you, other than smiles on the kids' faces and the products that they're building, are there other metrics you look at in your business?
in my mind, it's all about the effect that it's having on the people.
Yeah.
And that in itself has been huge to me. When parents come and they say, you know, I have a different kid since he's been attending your program. Some of my kids have Asperger's syndrome or other developmental disabilities. Not really heavy stuff. You know, you wouldn't even notice. Most of them just
Right.
dyslexia
They're
and stuff
somewhere on
like
the
that.
spectrum, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere on the spectrum, but it's been transforming for some of these kids, you know. And to hear parents talk about the difference in their child is, you know, more than enough for me, you know.
Yeah. And do you rely on any grants and things, or is everything self-funded through
It's self-funded, but right now I do have a proposal, another writing, okay,
Right.
with Decatur Education
Nonprofits are a lot about writing.
Writing, with Decatur Education Foundation for a mentorship program for the high school kids.
Got it.
So we're really excited about being able to implement that in the fall through Decatur Education Foundation. So I did write a proposal for a grant from them. So
yeah, but it's
very
been smart
excited.
that you've been able to, you know, self-fund it, because that's the thing that you'll see in the nonprofit space is they're, okay, we're going to write a grant, and then you got to write a grant every year. Like,
Right.
You got to do something to keep that going, and that
Right.
that isn't always the best way to do it. You know, the political climate changes, the
Right.
funders change, and then all of a sudden you got to figure out a way to fill a gap.
Well, one of the biggest things that I wanted to implement in our second year seems to be coming to fruition as well. I had a meeting with an individual who's on a building board for a large church in Avondale Estates, and they're offering us a building to expand our
wow.
location. So
Wow.
we're looking to get another
You're
building.
going to have a backlot.
Right. Looking forward to that. But the purpose is the fact that this building is going to be in an area where the kids are about 92% on either free or reduced lunch.
Right.
So it's a lot different from the Decatur kids. You know what I mean? So to be able to take this to the disadvantaged youth and be able to go out there and, you know, teach these kids these kind of skills that they wouldn't have access to unless they paid college or,
Yeah.
you know, or pay for all that equipment. I mean, it's invaluable.
Well, you know, and the stuff that you're doing for kids who are in those categories, to get into some of these schools that teach that long term, you have to have a portfolio.
Right.
And you're helping them build a portfolio. It's a
right.
completely different judgment. It's not based on grades. It's based on your portfolio.
Right.
There's a
What have
really,
you done?
Yeah, really interesting study about what does it take to get into a university, which is all SAT and ACT and grades. Art schools are all about your work. Like,
Right.
where are you in your work? You know, even getting into governor's honors, it relates to art. So you're helping
Right.
people along that path when they may not have even the equipment or opportunity to build those things.
Right.
Yeah.
And my point with bringing this to the kids that are in these disadvantaged kind of neighborhoods is the fact that A, they don't have access to this kind of stuff, and B, this is teaching them a skill set that they can even sustain themselves with.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
if they get good enough, you don't need a college degree
Right.
to just get out here and hustle and produce videos for people.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
very translatable.
right, it's immediately translatable. And you know, I was fortunate enough that I was just blessed with a lot of talent.
Right.
So I can shoot, I can edit, I'm doing voiceovers, we're producing original music, you know, doing all this stuff. And you know, but for kids that can put that kind of stuff together, even on their level, it's huge.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to pitch that to a small business or a company or your uncle's car
Or
garage or
any
whatever.
company. I
Right.
mean, several companies I'm working with, I've seen them hire people to do this. You know, that come in because the company needs to tell its story in a different way. It's not a-
Freelancers too.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. So the future, so that's a little bit about future of work. And there's a lot of focus of that, you know, nowadays around what is the future of work. Future for you, you're looking at potentially another location. If you know, like what's in your little voice? What have you been given to do next?
Well, this house and the way it is, it's in my mind, it's going to be like a baby Motown mixed with Mickey Mouse Club. Okay, so the idea of producing kids content,
Yeah.
you know, DIY videos, music, you know, all kind of crazy short films and all kind of little neat stuff for kids, and put it in a format where we can make like these short 8 to 12 minute Vice style episodes.
Right.
You know, so starting in the new year, that's what we're going to get on and start to produce these episodes
Very
to
cool.
release.
Yeah, so you could have your own brand around
Pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
And we're a constant cycle of new talent, because as the kids rotate in and out, we're just always attracting creative kids. So, and the title of it is they're called the MSA kids. So
Yeah.
they made that up, Märchen Sagen Academy.
Because they
the
were
MS
like, I can't say Mark and Sagan either.
Right, right. As a matter of fact, going through some of the work that I had to do before I came out here, it challenged me to think of a name to put across all of our social media channels, and we came up with We Say MSA.
Oh, I like that.
We Say MSA.
That's awesome.
Thanks to you, buddy.
I like that. It kind of rolls off your tongue.
Rolls off your tongue. We Say MSA.
Yeah,
again, that flash that comes into your mind. And you say, I get it.
So other locations, you thought about like franchising it? Like where?
That is in the ultimate, goal is to have, that's the ultimate goal, is to spread this thing around. We want a place in London. We want a place in Amsterdam. We want a place back in Italy, which I miss very much. I lived in Italy for about 2.5 years.
Did you?
Yeah, I miss that place very much.
Somebody earlier today was talking about Italy, and I agree. It was one of the first people we talked to. She had been out in Italy and had to go to a conference there. I'm like, you had to go to a conference in Italy. So anyway, so the one thing, so Märchen Sagen Academy, the cool thing about the name is it sounds very much like something like that, right? Like that you would pass on. So
that was the plan, to make something that I could, that was bigger than me. Yeah. And it could leave a legacy.
Yeah, very nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us your story.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for Ace.
Yeah. So you've been listening to Ace Best Story. I've been talking to Couleen LaGon. He is the founder of the Märchen Sagen Academy. And if I said any of it wrong, he knows how to edit video. So he'll take the video or the audio and turn it into what he wants it to say. So that's a good thing. But anyway, I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Tune in each week as we bring you another story from Ace Best Stories of others who've decided to venture out on their own and build their own businesses. Until next time, go and do your own.
We create jobs and make entrepreneurial dreams come true. ACE, Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, is a nonprofit community lender specializing in small business loans coupled with business advisory services. These are the stories of those businesses we've helped reach success and claim their American dream.